Welcome to TCS Yes for Thursday, January 4th, 2018. My name is Kevin Smith, and from Transylvania County Schools, we bring you this program every Thursday afternoon at 3:25 here on Q102 FM, WSQL 1240 AM, and WSQLradio.com to showcase the great things happening with our students, parents, educators, community partners, the family of Transylvania County Schools who truly make Transylvania County a special and vibrant place. This week we're featuring an extended conversation with Alan Justice. He's always a great guest on our program. He's the Director of Transportation, Student Athletics, and Safe Schools, and he brings us all kinds of information. This week we're talking about bus safety, as well as about what's going on in the world of sports with our students, just celebrating their victories from the fall and deep into the winter season. And we also talk a little bit about the bullying tip line. Without any further ado, let's turn to that conversation. We spoke today with Alan Justice here on TCS Yes. It is always a pleasure to be sharing this microphone with Alan Justice, who is our Director of Athletics and Transportation and Safe Schools. Alan, thank you so much for what you do and for taking the time to talk with our folks about all the great things happening in Transylvania County Schools today.
Kevin, I really appreciate you having me here today, and I look forward to talking to you about several topics that I'm very excited about.
Buses are always the thing that hit us right up front because they're what people see out on the roads. It's the first thing that students see, and the last people that they're going to see are the bus driver when students go home at the end of the day. What's it been like so far this year? We've had a lot of crazy weather, and we've had some really cold weather. What's happening out on the roads?
It's been an interesting winter, and I think we're only going to see more of this as we move through January and February. We're working really hard during these days to assess the weather, to assess conditions. For example, when we go out, all of my guys have laser thermometers, and we measure roadbed temperature.
I love those pictures.
Yeah, and we measure roadbed temperature. It lets us know as we move forward if we experience moisture, we know when it hits the road it's going to freeze. And so we've worked real hard to create a system where we can close certain roads and keep the main lines open if we're able to, and pick up students at certain pickup points if the students can get there safely. And that's the key. We don't want parents to feel like, well, my road's closed. You know, if you can't get to the pickup point or you can't get to school, we don't want you to risk that. Contact your school, let them know you can't make it because your road was closed, and the school will work with you. Now, the absence will probably still count, but they can excuse it, and you can work with your school. But we want to keep everybody safe, and we want to put that information out on our social media pages and on our Facebook page. And also on the website, we keep a list.
We should put that out there right now. I'm so excited. I know it took some cajoling, but I'm always happy to see any of our teams or schools or programs kind of taking on a new page. And if you haven't started following Transylvania County Schools Transportation on Facebook, folks, you are missing out. You might get the first insider's look at what's happening out on the roads. If you want to see what the icy roads look like at 5:30 in the morning, that's the place to go. So, Alan, we really appreciate you and the bus garage staff really deserves a huge hat tip. Yeah. They're out there so early doing so many things. They're driving on roads that, frankly, we don't want to be driving on.
Exactly. And we're excited about the Facebook page. We equipped all of our service trucks with cameras that come out of the front windshield, and they observe the roads just as we're observing them. And so we can let people know, when they ask if they live in Little River where they got snow, why'd they close school? Well, they can go on our Facebook page and see a video of Balsam Grove and the ice and the weather we're experiencing in the upper end, and maybe give some insight to why we closed school or made a delay on a certain day. We want to give as much information as we can.
And you might see what's on the music hit list of our bus garage staff.
Particularly Keith Wilmot, my garage supervisor. He likes to listen to his classic rock, and so you may hear some Led Zeppelin or some Aerosmith or Steppenwolf or something like that as he's checking roads. So it's always fun.
I love it so much. You have done so much in the past couple of years to make it not just safer on the roads, but safer for the drivers to do what they need to do. I remember it was a big deal when the hand signals were being advertised and first taught to your drivers. And now you've got something brand new. You've got a really important tool. It's called Gardian Angel.
Yes.
Tell us more about what that's doing for drivers.
Well, I want to back up just a little bit. This all started for me as a director 3 years ago when we had that terrible incident up in Conisty where we had 3 students hit by a vehicle driver that passed a stopped school bus with
Right.
the stop arm extended. And so it was from that point on that me and Keith, my garage supervisor, we said, how can we make the stop safer? And we started with the hand signals, of course, with our drivers to help students cross the road and look out the road for them. And then we went to the extended stop arm, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later. And now we're adding a third component to that, which is the Gardian Angel. And what that does, it's basically two floodlights that connect to either end of the front bumper of a bus. And what happens is, as the bus makes a stop and the red lights are activated, these floodlights come on and shine to the left and to the right of the bus so that the driver and the student can see. The bus driver can see the student can see the bus driver, and the bus driver can see the stop. They can see the road, because particularly in the wintertime, when we're picking students up, say at, 6:45, 6:30, it's still dark outside.
I know.
Pitch black dark. And it can be, I've driven the bus up in the upper end on some roads, and it's dark. Coming up on stops, you don't see the students until you're really literally on top of them. And this allows us to see them a lot better. It'll also put two additional red flashing lights in the front grille of the bus, more at eye level of the driver. It's always been said that the red lights that activate and the ambers that activate are just a little too high. Yeah. They're out of the vision of the driver. So these put the red lights right in the vision of the driver. So we're hoping to grab their attention sooner rather than later when we make these stops, because we're just trying to make our stops as safe as possible. Nothing's perfect, but we're getting pretty close to making some really perfect student stops with all the new ideas that we've got and the new things we've added to the school bus.
The great news about this, we've added 8 camera setups to the buses. Thousands of dollars. Costs a lot of money.
It does.
GPS on the buses also costs a lot of money. Extended stop arms, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Hundreds of dollars. Hundreds and hundreds. And that big out. This is really cost effective.
Yeah, we were kind of surprised. We got in touch with the company. The Gardian Angel is going to run us roughly we're thinking about anywhere from $200 to $250 a bus. That's
so
pretty
little.
Yeah, it's so little considering the cost of a brand new bus is around $80,000. If I can add a $250 piece of equipment that makes it that much safer,
right?
Then it's to me that's easy done.
How does this get started? How many buses do you start with, and how long do you think it takes to get
Right now, we're getting ready to them. We're going to install them here in the next few weeks. We just got them in. We're going to install them on 3 buses. And it's kind of crazy how we came upon. I'd seen this Gardian Angel in several trade magazines and at conferences. Sure. But it was a bus driver. I've been sharing some of my trade magazines and trade articles that I get through email with some of my bus captains, and they've been passing along to some of my drivers. And one of the drivers from Brevard Middle School, Gardian, saw this in one of the trade magazines and says, I want to try one of those. I says, what? You know what? If you want to try it, let's try it.
I bet.
And so that's how we got that started. And so we've got 3. We're going to put one on her bus at Brevard Middle School. We're going to try one at Brevard Elementary and another one at Rossman Elementary.
What a great thing. And, you mentioned looking back at one of the more troubling incidents, the thing that really brings safety.
Yeah.
It's already top of mind, but, gosh, made it even more obvious. The extended stop arms have been a huge improvement. What are you hearing from drivers about the impact those have? Because, again, if a driver sees someone who's going to pass the bus, of course a camera's picking it up. Every bus driver even has a button. This is kind of sad to think about. Frustrating. Yeah. There's a button in the bus for the driver to let us know that someone drove by that flashing red light and the extended arm. That's terrible to think about. But the extended stop arm has done its work.
It has. I think in the beginning that we had some drivers who were like, this is new, it's an extended stop arm, it's going to be a pain in the rear to use and operate. And now, just within a few months of having them on every single school bus in my system, I dare try to take one off a school bus. I think the bus drivers would hang me if they knew I was going to take them off. They have really slowed down the stop. I think that's the number one thing. We've told these drivers we don't want vehicles to hit these signs. So it's really slowed down the stop. It's made the driver more conscientious of the traffic around them. I'm going to put the sign out when it's safe, because I know if I don't, it will get hit. And so it's really slowed down the stop. And when you slow down the stop, you're paying more attention to the surroundings. And so you add that with the hand signals. It's jam up. If you get behind one of these buses, or any of my buses now with the extended stop arm, it's just, I love getting behind them. I mean, there's so many lights. It's the arms extended. I mean, it's really made the school bus stop a lot safer in Transylvania County.
You want it to light up like a carnival.
Yes. I mean, if the state would let me, I'd put lights all over it. But but it's really done its job. And as we move forward, we're going to continue to work with bus safety solutions, and they're coming out with new and creative ideas, and we're going to continue to kind of push the envelope when it comes to safety stuff for our school buses.
It's always exciting to be talking with Alan Justice. We're in the middle of a segment talking about bus safety and bus drivers. And Alan, you've been doing this as a transportation director and as a bus supervisor in your own school 10 plus years. And during that whole time, there's really been one person who has had a huge impact on training our drivers.
Yeah.
We're missing our own Dennis Miller, not the TV personality.
Yes.
Although I'm sure that based on having taken his class, he probably could have done some stand-up work.
He could have.
What has it meant for us to have someone like Dennis as such a consistent presence here in Transylvania County?
Dennis Miller was invaluable to Transylvania County Schools and the training of our bus drivers. He cared just as much about the kids than any bus driver, any teacher that I've ever seen. And, he didn't drive a bus on a daily basis. He didn't drop off kids on a daily basis, but he cared enough to make sure that the people that were doing it were going to do it correctly and do it appropriately and do it in a safe way so that all our kids were safe. That's always impressed me about Dennis. He took his job very seriously. He knew what it meant and what he was teaching and how it pertained to the safety of our students, and he's going to be sorely missed.
It's interesting. In popular perception, bus drivers, it's kind of they play the funny character on a TV show, right? But firsthand, I'll say from taking his class just in recent years and watching other folks taking the class and kind of observing, he takes it so seriously. And I imagine every trainer does. But when he says things like, look, if you're not ready to do these things, it's okay. Just go enjoy your life. Please don't worry about being a bus driver. That it's almost for him a sacred responsibility. And I think all of our bus drivers, from what I've observed, have heeded that message. There's something really important about carrying the most precious cargo in Transylvania County.
And I think a lot of people that go into that class who are like, I need a job. I heard bus driving's a pretty good gig, and it can't be that hard. It can't be that difficult. And then they go in this class with Dennis, and they realize the responsibility that they're getting ready to take on. And I think for some people, they come out a better person on the other side of the class. They're ready, like, man, this is a real serious job. I'm going to have to be real serious about doing this. And we get, it works out for us. He kind of weeds out those that don't want to take it serious, and we get the ones that want to do the job and do it correctly.
We know that folks have been training bus drivers before Dennis here in Transylvania County, and there will be people who come after, but we would be remiss not to say thank you and take a minute to appreciate the work of Dennis Miller and all the folks who have trained with him.
Oh, yes. I wish him a happy retirement, and, and like I said, we'll miss him sorely. And we're just, right now we're kind of in a lull. We're just kind of waiting on to see who that new replacement's going to be. But there are going to be some big shoes to fill, that's for sure. Dennis had some big shoes to fill.
Don't go away. You're listening to TCS Yes. My name is Kevin Smith. We're here every week. We're talking with Alan Justice on this Thursday afternoon. We've just finished up talking about buses. Stay with us to talk about athletics. Our student athletes have done amazing things this fall, and we look forward to a lot more for the rest of the year. And we're going to talk about safe schools and bullying at the end of the show. Don't go away. We'll have more with Alan Justice after this. Alan Justice, welcome back. Thanks again for taking time this afternoon. I know you yourself are going to be heading out. I didn't see it on your Twitter feed yet, but I know you're going to a wrestling match today.
Yeah, my son, who's had a football injury and had to miss the first part of wrestling season, gets his first match today. So me and my wife are excited. We're going to travel down to Polk. The middle school wrestling team is having a phenomenal year. They've lost one match, and it was kind of on a rule clarification there that they lost the match, but they're having a tremendous season. I look forward to going down the match this afternoon.
So many things to celebrate from this fall season. We want to congratulate Coach Stack for going out and coaching in the East-West game and taking players from Brevard and Rosman. He and his staff obviously had a great experience down there. Narrowly missed getting the win.
Yes.
But what else has been happening in the world of sports and student athletics here in Transylvania County from the fall?
Well, I think some of the highlights are Coach Latter and the girls cross country team. Again, going to the state championship and just
Blue Devil cross country is a thing.
Yeah, it is now. And Coach Latter's doing a good job with track. I think here in the next few years, I think Blue Devil track's going to be a thing.
There you go.
But Coach Latter's done a tremendous job with those girls, and he's working on the boys. I think our boys are going to start coming on the scene and heading to those state championships as well. But the girls just came up just so close again. Yep. Real tough competition down there at that 2A level.
We love seeing Will Coy and Lydia Monahan and Alyssa Leffler and obviously Ava Findley.
Oh, Ava
all making the area teams.
Mm-hmm. Our football players making all conference teams. Ethan Shook stands out in my mind. He was just made the defensive all Western North Carolina team in the Asheville Citizen Times.
Outstanding.
Yes, and so both ends of the county, kids are getting all kinds of accolades.
Thomas Collins as well.
Thomas
had
Collins.
Over 1,000 yards rushing.
He did.
Well,
it's kind of amazing, Rosman, for years and years was known as a run team. Mm-hmm. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I coached with Coach Fox. We lined up in the wishbone. We dared you to stop us. And, this year Rosman was leading stats in passing.
It's outstanding.
It's outstanding. It's amazing the change that's going on out there. I'm excited for Coach Stack.
And maybe that opened things up for Thomas, because I know when I looked at the stat and saw over 1,000 yards rushing, I thought, really?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, and quite a few yards.
Great season.
Yeah, great season. So, I know sometimes we look at wins and losses, but Coach Stack is trying to rebuild that program and is doing a good job out there and is getting great community support. And I look for good things to happen for Rosman football as we move forward.
Awesome. Coaching changes that have been in the wind. It's been a whole new season of basketball.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Coach David Sinyard for a minute.
You can't say enough about Coach Sinyard. If he's listening, I love you, man. That's kind of his mantra there. And, sometimes family just comes first. And for him, that was what it come down to. I can't blame him for that. And I look forward to Jonathan Owen taking the reins. He's doing a great job now. He's just coming off a couple wins here. The county rivalry was just, with Rosman, and they had to win over Rosman. But doing good things, and I look for Jonathan to move that program upward and onward as we move forward. Great guy.
Some other coaching openings that we've seen, 2 assistant positions have been posted at Brevard High.
Yeah, we're looking for a couple of assistant positions
football
at Brevard High, and Coach Galloway, the AD at Brevard High, is put that out there on NC Preps and on the North Carolina High School Athletic Association website. He's starting to get some applications in, and so we're doing it early. Just particularly, it's just really hard to find coaches.
Sure. Why is that?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think, one, a lot of people are not going into the teaching profession like they used to out of college. And then on top of that, those that want to, teaching takes so much of your time. You add coaching on top of that. I mean, it's a lot of work and very little pay.
Sure.
And then I think also, coaches are getting a little beat up. Parents sometimes don't like the calls or the playing time or so forth.
Right.
So I think sometimes they get beat up and just get a little discouraged and said you're not paying me enough to do this. I'm doing this for the kids. I feel like I'm doing a good job, but yet I'm getting beat up. And that's tough for a young coach or a young teacher coming out of school.
And so that would be the perfect segue, Alan Justice, for talking about Patrick Chapman.
Yeah.
Packy and Derek Huggins doing a little bit of a seat shift. Let's talk about the new situation for ADs at Rosman Middle and High School.
Sure. John Schmiller, if folks don't know, has decided to take another job in South Carolina. We wish him the best of luck. He was great to work with.
Returning home.
Yeah, he actually is returning home. And so I wish him the best of luck. And Derek Huggins has taken over both the AD position at Rosman Middle School and now at Rosman High School. And I've worked with Derek taught him as a student and coached him and worked with him as a baseball coach. And I've worked with him as a middle school AD now, and he'll do a fine job as the high school AD. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing. He sees a future for Rosman, and he's going to put it on the right path and put the right people in there to make sure that all the sports programs do well at that school. And of course, Patrick Chapman now has been announced as the assistant principal at Rosman High School, and I've had the pleasure of coaching with Coach Chapman when I was a teacher and coach at Rosman High School, and man, I'm fantastic opportunity for him, and I'm excited for him, and look forward to working with him now as a AP with buses and discipline and safe schools, all the stuff we're talking about today.
Exactly.
He's now going to jump in the chair at Rosman.
Hearing you talk about the challenges and what keeps people from going into the profession. I mean, I think of someone like Packy, Teacher of the Year, coaching the football team, helping in so many ways at the school, just taking one more foot, taking one more step into that, whatever it is, getting stuck.
And it's good. And our coaches are fortunate, and I said that, they kind of get beat up by parents sometimes and criticized by the public sometimes, but we've really got 3 great ADs, Coach Bumgarner at Brevard Middle School, Derek now at Rosman, and Coach Galloway now at Brevard High School, who really support their coaches. I'm always impressed how they help our coaches handle adversity and handle those little stumbling blocks that sometimes come up as a coach, particularly young coaches, and working with those coaches so that they want to continue to coach and want to continue to do well. I can't say enough about the ADs at all, those 3 schools.
We don't go to school because of sports.
No.
Everybody knows that. And yet we also know that there are lots of students who make a kind of a hard decision.
Sure.
Sometimes they do choose where they're going to enroll based on the culture of the school,
sure.
how the coaches do their business.
Yeah.
What would you say about the way these ADs and their coaches are helping to shape the culture at their school? Who stands out?
Well, it's really hard to pinpoint them all because all 3 of them have stake in this county. All 3 of those ADs played for Brevard High School, played for Rosman High School, in all sports. I mean, you got a former basketball coach, basketball player, you got a former baseball player, football player, you got a former wrestler that's an AD, and they embrace all sports, all kids, and really encourage anyone and everyone to come out. And a good example of that is Coach Galloway at Brevard High. We've reinstated the swim team. That's something that Coach...
Swim team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Absolutely. It's a big deal.
It is. It is a big deal. We, Cassie, the new coach, is heading up the swim team this year. I got to give her a lot of credit. She really is a bulldog. She, from the moment I met her, she moved into this county and kind of reinvigorated the Aquabats, the swim club at the racket club. And from the moment I met her, because my son was part of that for a couple years, she knew I was the county athletic director. It was like, when are we going to start a high school swim team? When are we going to start a high school swim team? And it was just, every time I saw her, it might be a hello to start with, but it was, when are we going to start a high school swim team? Well, she got hired as the PE teacher at Brevard High School, and I knew from the moment she got that job, she would be in my office. And sure enough, the very next week she was in my office, and it's hard to tell her no. I'll just be quite honest. She's very convincing, and she's very passionate about swimming. She cares about the sport, and she cares about the kids who participate in that sport.
And the kids and families are deeply indebted.
Oh, yes.
They are passionate themselves, and they're a big reason why it's happening.
It is. And she's done a tremendous job this year. They've had some success, and I think they're going to have continued success with this program. With her leadership, it's just onward and upward. And again, we're adding another sport. It's like you said, high school's not about playing sports, or middle school's not about playing sports. But when we add as many sports as we can include as many kids as we can. So those people that don't necessarily like playing football or don't like playing basketball, well, now we've got something for them. Here's the swim team. And so this thing is a good thing, and I look forward to moving forward with Cassie and seeing this thing grow.
Awesome. We're talking about student athletics with Alan Justice, our Director of Athletics, Transportation, and Safe Schools. When we come back after this short break to TCS Yes, we'll talk more about the Safe Schools program and the good things that have been happening with our bullying tip line. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to TCS Yes. My name is Kevin Smith, and in the final part of our show for today, Thursday, January the 4th, 2018, I'm going to talk with Alan Justice. Alan, thanks again for taking time out. I know you're about to head out to a wrestling match. You're talking with us about safe schools today, and the bullying tip line has been a big part of an ongoing program to try and make students feel more secure at school, make families feel like they can be part of the solution.
Yes. This all started probably I'm going to say about 7 years ago. Dr. Farish, who's a member of my school health advisory council.
Ann Farish,
yes,
right? Hendersonville Pediatrics.
That's exactly. She is on that committee, has been for years. Saw these tip lines starting to pop up in our other local schools like Buncombe County, Charlotte, etc. She brought a couple of news articles to the SHAC committee, and then we decided we need one. This is a good program. It's a good thing to get in some anonymous tips.
Yes.
Parents don't have to leave a name or anything. They can leave a tip, and we can follow up on it and keep kids safe. And
real similar to the Crime Stoppers, but not as intense.
No. I mean, I know each of the schools has a Crime Stoppers box, but it's still in the middle of the school. And so, but this is a way that they can do the same thing from the convenience of their home. They can do it through a phone call and leave a message, or they're more than welcome to leave a written tip, type it in, and it comes up anonymous. There's no way I can track who leaves it unless they want to. I encourage people, however, we will take anonymous tips. I do encourage people to leave their name and number because we do want to follow up. We do want to make sure that if there is a problem that we solve it, whether that be with bullying or a safety issue you saw at a school. Because, a couple years ago, I got a call about the traffic situation at one of our schools, and we were able to fix that through that tip line. And I was, another thing that came out of all this was our secured entries that we have now. We've got several tips from parents, saying, and I can walk into any of these schools and go right into the hallway without anybody asking me a thing. And then I started pushing that through the SHAC and getting with Norris and finding some funds, and now all of our schools have secured entryways. You have to push a button to access the school and get in school. As part of that secure entry and securing the front of the school, we've in the past couple of years upped our game on securing the volunteer program as well. Yes. All of our volunteers go through a mandated background check and carry an identification card, and they sign it at the front of the school. So obviously, we're really excited to see these things going well. For folks who want to leave a tip, there might be anything that concerns them about the schools. I see here that it's on our website. It's so easy. We just went to the homepage, tcsnc.org. But there's also a phone number you can call, 828-201-2796. That phone number and a link is on our website. Alan, when someone goes to the Quick Tip site online, what are they going to see? Well, basically they'll just see is this an emergency? Call 911. Obviously do that. But then there'll be a couple drop-down menus. First of all, what school is this located at? So we want to know what school it is. And then it's going to ask you, is this concerning vandalism, bullying, fighting, drugs, safety risk? And then they have the opportunity to type up, what they need to type up. Now, please, whether you're leaving a voicemail or typing it up, try to give us as much information as you can. Don't leave no stone unturned, any detail, even if you think it's not going to help us or be important, it probably is. It's usually those details that we don't think about that end up being the most important in us trying to help a bullying victim or, trying to resolve an issue with drugs or crime or whatever's happening in our schools. We want to get those fixed, and the more details we can have, the better we can do that. I noticed from looking at it, there's even a link that you can upload an image so that if there's a picture of something that concerns you, or if someone, God forbid, someone sent a picture, for whatever reason, if you feel like there's something you need to bring confidentially, anonymously, to the attention of the school, even if you want it to be anonymous, but definitely always confidential. This is specifically the same thing that would happen if you went straight to the principal's office. This is going to go only to the people who have your best interests at heart. Because really the only two people that see this really the only person is me to start with, and then I decide, well, does this need to go to the SRO at that school, or does this need to be a principal matter, or does it need to be both? And so it starts here, and we move it along very quickly, and then we make sure we follow up. So. Sometimes folks share hard feedback with us. We appreciate people who follow us on social media and get into the conversation, and sometimes that means you have to hear things you don't want to hear. Sure. Alan, what if somebody came to you and said, we went and talked to the school and nothing happened? Well, if they come to me with that, then I'm going to go to the school and make sure something does happen. I mean, that's what we've got to do, and that's what I'm here to do. I hope that's never the case, but I know sometimes parents feel like, the school's doing the best that it can, and I'm here to help facilitate that. So if parents feel like the school's not done anything or they're not getting the results that they want, please give me a call here at my office. Email me.
We've all been that customer.
Yeah.
We've all walked in and out of a restaurant or a store or had some kind of an interaction where we feel like we didn't get what we needed.
Yeah.
And we just want folks to know, obviously, there's not a single school, there's not a single staffer where the principal and everyone in the school is not devoted to. Every one of our staffers is devoted wholeheartedly to helping every child have a good experience. And yet, sometimes these are difficult questions. And does this tip line exist as a way for parents, for students, for anyone to confidentially contact us and get help with something that they haven't been able to resolve between students or not sure how to go forward?
And I think sometimes just a fresh set of eyes and a fresh set of ears on something. Principals work hard every day. Lots of incidents go in and out the door, and just having a fresh set of eyes on it, we can offer some assistance in a different direction and bring some resolution to whatever the problem may be.
Best case scenario, people bring it to us and it gets resolved. You mentioned a parking issue. When it was first instituted a number of years ago, what was the usage like? What happened when you first brought it in?
When we first brought it in, the usage was up. It really helped with a lot of issues those first few years. But I have noticed in the last, I'm going to say year and a half, I really haven't gotten many tips. And I'd like to see, I hope I'm not getting many tips because there's not a lot going on.
That'd be great.
And that's great. But if that's not the case, I want parents to know that it's here. I want students to know. Because the first few tips I got, yes, I got some from parents, but I also got some straight from students. So I want students to know it's also available for them. It's not just a parent tool. It's a student tool. All of our students now have Chromebooks. And so a student could pull this up in the middle of class and go, I'm having an issue.
Sure.
And I could forward that on to whatever student that came from, to whatever principal that we need to get that to help resolve whatever issue it is that student may be having.
So again, we're talking about the bullying tip line from our Safe Schools Department. We want to make sure we have a Safe Schools Department here in Transylvania County Schools, because we're talking with Alan Justice, the director of that program. And if you dial 828-201-2796, you'll have the opportunity to leave a voicemail with all the details that you would like about any tip that you think would help make your school safer for you or, frankly, for anybody else.
Yes.
There may even be some folks who are frightened or concerned about even reporting something that would help them.
Yeah.
You could report on behalf of a friend if that's what it takes.
And a lot of those tips have been that way. It's been a friend or a colleague or someone that says, I witnessed this and I want someone to know about it. And then we get it resolved.
We always hope that students know that there are people here ready to listen at all times, both in the school and here at the central office. We've been talking today with Alan Justice, and again, to reiterate that tip line information for anybody who feels that there's a concern about our schools they want to address to help make them safer, please call this number, 828-201-2796, and leave us a detailed message, or just go straight to our website, always available 24/7. If you go to tcsnc.org and go down to the bottom right-hand corner of the page, there's a link to our safe schools and tip line information. You'll also see occasional flyers about this. Keep an eye on social media and on your peach jar information. As we're closing up with Alan Justice, I want to put another shout out for our Transylvania County Schools Transportation Facebook page. We hope, obviously today being January the 4th, we've had some very interesting weather. We're glad the snow and ice pushed onward and upward, but we don't know that it's going to stay there.
Yes.
We're looking at a long weekend ahead.
We are. Monday is going to be an interesting morning. And of course, I'll be up very early, along with the bus garage staff to check those conditions. And again, any decision we make is really on the behalf of the safety of all of our students and our staff, and those that ride the bus and those that drive to and from school as well. So.
Alan Justice, Director of Safe Schools, Transportation, and Student Athletics here in Transylvania County Schools. Thank you so much. Good luck going out to Polk today for the wrestling match, and we look forward to having a good week ahead.
Appreciate it.
That wraps up our episode of TCS Yes for January the 4th, 2018. We hope everyone has had a happy new year. To keep up with the news every day from Transylvania County Schools, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, including following all of our school pages, and as we just described today, the new Transylvania County Schools Transportation page on Facebook. You don't want to miss being the first one to know about exciting weather events, as well as what's playing on the radio when Keith Wilmot and other members of the Bus Garage staff are out checking roads to help everyone stay safe. You can find episodes of this show on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/Transylvania County Schools. And we're trying something new, posting episodes of the podcast to YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. Just search for Transylvania County Schools, or turn your browser to youtube.com/TCSNC, just like our website. Until next week, thanks again for being with us. We look forward to talking with you then. Take care.